Alright, I am going to read one chapter out of two of my chapter books that I've typed. I just finished typing a book called Alex and His Friends Go to Charlotte. I finished that book some time ago. And a book I'm currently typing another book called Alex and His Friends Go to Atlanta. I'm going to read one chapter out of each. Okay, Chapter 1. Alex was gliding through the air, flying without aid of engines or wings. All around him were bubbles resting on clouds. He smiled as he flew, enjoying the wind on his face. Pelicans flew with him. "Come fly with us," they urged. "Fly, Alex." Bubbles started to burst around him, and he knew his flight was near its end. He started to fall, without fear, but with the sense that he was leaving the sky. Down and down he fell. As he fell, he slowly awoke to the sounds of 102 jams on his clock radio. Man, thought Alex, what a weird dream. What could it mean? Alex knew he had little time to contemplate the dream. However, since today was the final day of exams at Ridgefield Academy, Alex was completing 10th grade and his first year at Ridgefield. It had been a challenging year in many ways, new as he was to the school. But it had also been a good year, filled with new friends, new teachers, and new experiences, and it would soon be over. The end of the school year brought more than just final exams. It also brought the promise of another summer trip for Alex and his friends. In 2004, he has some new friends and some old friends, and they are set for a road trip of bodacious proportions to North Carolina's Queen City. Alex quickly brushed his teeth after a big breakfast of Wheaties and orange juice. He drove his dad to school, who wished Alex good luck on his exams. Alex was ready for the day to get going so that he could finally finish and say goodbye to school work for another summer. He knew in a few short hours that he would be on the road and free at last. That's the end of chapter 1 of my book, The Charlotte.
Yeah!
And now I'm going to read one chapter out of a book that I am currently typing. It's called Alex and His Friends Go to Atlanta. It's a longer chapter, though. All right, chapter 1. Alex looked at his watch for the 20th time that day. Mr. Dickey was droning on about the causes of the American Civil War. Alex had heard it all before in the class of Tim Montgomery at Guilford Day School and was already thinking about hitting the road to Atlanta with his friends. Alex's attention wandered to the hallway outside of Mr. Dickey's classroom. Through the window in Mr. Dickey's classroom door, Alex's eyes saw an object jumping up and down as if trying to see what was happening in the classroom. Alex began to concentrate more and more on the object and less on Mr. Dickey. Just as Alex realized what, or rather who, he was seeing outside the classroom, Mr. Dickey called on Alex. "So, Mr. Hanson, who won the presidential election of 1860, thereby assuring the secession of the southern states from the Union?" asked Mr. Dickey. Alex, with half of his mind focused on the object in the hall and half of his mind focused on Mr. Dickey's sudden and urgent question to him, ordered out, "Spot!" Yes, said Mr. Dickey. Actually, no, not Spot, unless that happened to be the nickname for Abraham Lincoln. Sorry, Mr. Dickey. I didn't mean to say Spot, stammered Alex. What I meant to say was Abraham Lincoln, of course, yeah, and that they really put old Abe in a spot by threatening to break up the Union if he became president. Suddenly, the window in the classroom door caught Mr. Dickey's eye as well. "What the?" ordered out Mr. Dickey as he lunged for the doorknob. Alex exclaimed, "No!" Mr. Dickey flung open the door to the classroom and revealed Spot jumping up in front of the door. "What is the meaning of this?" asked Mr. Dickey. "Where did this fowl come from? And why is it trying to see inside my classroom?" Spot was completely startled and reacted with a loud screeching,
Yeah!
Spot was in sheer terror and instantly decided she didn't want to have anything to do with Mr. Dickey. So she ran down the hall and out the side of the classroom building. Mr. Dickey turned to the class and said, "Don't anybody move. I'll be right back." He tore out of the classroom door in hot pursuit of Spot. Spot thought that her troubles were over because she escaped from the door building with all of her feathers. She was quite startled to see Mr. Dickey fling open the side doors to the main building and come tearing out with a crazed look on his face. I'm going to get you, and when I do, I'm going to Kentucky Fry you for disturbing my class. Spot let out another screech and ran and flew as fast as she could towards the tall grass behind Ridgefield Academy. Of course, even though Mr. Dickey had instructed the students to remain in their seats, they all spilled outside to take in the spectacle of Mr. Dickey running madly around the field behind the school, chasing a class-disrupting chicken. Spot was able to elude Mr. Dickey for several minutes by hiding in the tallest grass, despite his best efforts to search and find her. Despite Mr. Dickey's instructions, all the students in the class ran outside to take in all the action. Finally, Miss Sumner arrived at the scene and asked Alex what all the commotion was about. Well, you see, Miss Sumner, said Alex, we aren't really sure what set Mr. Dickey off this time. He was screaming something about seeing a chicken outside the classroom door, and then before we knew it, he is out here running around, screaming at some chicken only he can see. Oh, said Miss Sumner. Students, please return to class and read in your history books until the end of the period. I just got the weather report that indicated that we are now in a winter storm warning, and I have decided to dismiss school after the end of this period. So please return inside, and I will help Mr. Dickey find the whatever it is that he's looking for. Alex and his classmates returned to Mr. Dickey's class as Miss Sumner instructed, but were barely able to walk for laughing once they got inside the school building. Wow, would you believe that? Asked Eric Moran to no one in particular. Unbelievable, said Sam Watkins. You mean more like unreal, said Cameron. So tell us, Alex, is that your chicken? Alex was too embarrassed to explain. Fortunately for him, before anyone could ask any more questions, Miss Sumner came by the class to make an announcement. Students, I have decided to dismiss school early today to allow you time to travel home safely before the winter weather starts in our area. Please travel home safely and have a wonderful holiday. I will look forward to seeing each of you in the new year. So, what happened to Mr. Dickey and the chicken? Asked Alex to Miss Sumner. Alex, sometimes you ask too many questions, responded Miss Sumner. I will see you after break. Alex shrugged his shoulders and walked out into the hall to his locker. He seemed to hear a lot of excited discussion among the other students concerning both the bad weather and Mr. Dickey's odd behavior just before school was dismissed. Alex tossed his book into his locker, closed the locker door, and smiled to himself as he walked outside. Alex returned to the back of the school, among where all the weeds and tall grasses were. Mr. Dickey had finally located Spot. Mr. Dickey was threatening to call the police as Alex walked up. Alex interrupted Mr. Dickey's yelling at Spot and said, Mr. Dickey, I have a confession. The chicken is mine. Aha! Yelled Mr. Dickey. I knew it. Alex, you know we can't have chickens running around the school campus interrupting our classes. I'm afraid I've got to turn the chicken in, and she will have to suffer the consequences. Oh, come on, Mr. Dickey. Be a good sport and give the chicken a break, said Alex. After all, it's almost Christmas, you know. Well, said Mr. Dickey, you know that I hate to have to put up with any crap from students, or from chickens for that matter. Yeah, said Alex, I know that we can be a real pain sometimes, but you see, for Christmas break, I told all my students, my friends, including Spot, that I would drive them all to Atlanta to hang out and see the sights and do a little Christmas shopping. I reckon Spot was just a little too anxious to get on the road. Well, said Mr. Dickey, again, appearing calmer, I do get kind of excited around this time of year myself now that you mention it. I suppose I could overlook this interruption, just this once, mind you. Alex and Spot just looked at each other in disbelief. Spot smiled and Alex frowned, and Mr. Dickey turned to walk back to the school. The fall semester was finally over.
That was good.
Thank you.